see the different words and all that. So like I said that the Sankhya is used there for karma sannyas. Okay. So we have to know this, because otherwise in other places he has used Sankhya for knowledge also. But we also should know that, technically what he's talking about, that when somebody does karma sannyas, main focus is to gain knowledge, because he doesn't have the duties of other duties, right? Worldly duties, koi business nahi karna hai usko, kuch household ki duties nahi hai. So his focus is on doing gaining knowledge. He takes that path, usko Sankhya bola hai. And jo karma yogi hai, usko focus is on action, doing action in certain attitude. That's where the focus is for. So that also technical thing we should understand. So in sannyas, you renounce a lot of things. In karma yogi, you're not renouncing physically anything, but the renunciation for both is from the mental perspective. Okay, and then children, bala, I already explained that what they're talking about. They're spiritually ignorant people. So जो बाला होते हैं ना, वो लोग सोचते हैं कि ये they're difference. There is a difference in the path. But the children think that these two paths are different and they lead you to a different thing or whatever crazy ideas that they have. So and then I think I already mentioned that some people will give example of, hey, Vivekananda and Buddha, that's the only way to do it. So if you want to reach moksha, सब छोड़ छाड़ के तुमको जाना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो नहीं होगा. घर में बैठे हुए तो सभी लोग परेशान करेंगे, को कितने दलीलें दे देंगे, कि you don't have time and this will happen, that will happen, the sansar will pull you in and you cannot do a job outside unless you are cunning these days. You hear all kinds of arguments, So he's saying, no, that's not true. And, it's a different stages of the path, but both of them are striving for the same thing. Even if you become sannyas, if we think कि खाली संन्यास लेने से लोगों की द्वेष और निर्द्वंद हो जाते हैं, that's not true. If you read their biography, you will see that in some of them, even though they had a very pure mind compared to what we had, they had to struggle with it too, to get over their weaknesses. And different gurus and different people help them to get over their own weaknesses. Everybody has their own weaknesses. So, but what is the most important thing he's talking about is, no matter which path you choose, according to your temperament, you have to be well established in it. That is the most important thing. If you are a karma yogi, be well established in the karma yoga and do it in that mode. If you are a sannyasi, then don't act like a householder then. Means बोलते हैं ना कि अपने मार्ग पे निष्ठा रखो. So that's what is the most important thing, because even if you are a karma yogi in a household and all that, by doing the action in the karma yoga mode, your mind will start getting purified. That jigyasa will rise in you. Who am I? Where am I coming from? And that jigyasa will lead you eventually in the meditative mode and all that, and it will take you to enlightenment. And जो कर्म सन्यासी है वो तो कर ही रहा है वो, right? But even in this path, it will take you to the same state of mind where the sannyasi is, through this path, So and the example is, he's saying that we should not copy anybody about it, because wo falana ne sannyas le liya and then how fast he went in that road, so that's why I'm going. So he's saying yoga asan mein aisa bahut hota hai कि फलाना बोलता है कि मैं तो इतना bend कर सकता हूँ, see I can touch my toes, and then you are also trying to copy him and you break your back and end up with the chiropractor in the hospital. Don't try to copy anybody. That's not the goal of it, Or, like vrat mein, I can do this, I can be bhukha, for so long and all that, and, this and that. And then you try to do it and you end up in the hospital. Because it's not meant for you, So, or somebody likes japa, like one of them is not there, I forgot the name. She likes doing japa. She had told me over the phone. That is best thing for her. because her mind becomes quiet with it, with doing japa. Somebody might, want to do meditate and become quiet. So that is their path. और किसी एक दूसरे का कॉपी करेंगे, some people say कि मैं जप करने जाता हूँ, मेरा सारा ध्यान वो यही इसलिए होता है कि कब खत्म होएगा मेरा जप, अभी 30 किया, अभी 40, वो भगवान को तो भूल ही गए. And there are others, when they do japa, they become quiet and they become one. So, that's what it is. You cannot really copy anybody. So that's what is called being steadfast in your own path. Find out what it is and improve and do steadfast in that. Okay? And then what he says in this verse is, if you are well established in this path, it will take you to your final destination. What is the final destination? Moksha or enlightenment. So whether you go this route or those route, final destination is the same for both. And then we discussed that the path looks very opposite to each other, but result is the same if you are well established in it. And then we talked about that how, from California, you can want to go to India, you can go via Eastern or Western, but you'll end up at the same place. So that's what it is. So this one is fairly simple. So what we will do is, firstly, anybody has any question about this?
I had one question. When I read this, to me it was the karma sannyas yoga is slightly different than karma yoga, because karma yoga means you're not looking for the fruits of the action as such, or specific fruits, whereas karma sannyas yoga is when you give up your doership. Because I thought that's what I understood.
Yes, okay, that's what Swamiji explains like that. So this is exactly what I was saying, that it is a concept and there are many aspects to the concept, and what you are presenting right now is one of the aspects of it. That जो कर्म योगी होता है ना, उसका main focus होता है give up the fruit of action.
Yes.
And then
yes.
and the जो कर्म संन्यास में उसने mainly सारे उसके पास कोई duty वूटी ज़्यादा नहीं रह गई है, right? His main focus is to gain knowledge, so he starts only with that giving up the ego. Okay, which is a harder thing to do.
Okay, I just thought that every action that he does, it's without his ego, but he's still doing actions, but you're presenting it that he has no duties left. What I thought was doing duties without the ego-ness in it. That means doing it either, as for the world, as a duty to be done. Something that needs to be done is doing it without the ego being present in it. That's what I understood.
So,
and that's what
I think later on he's going to open it up a little more. He's going to tell you in one, I don't remember exactly which chapter it is. He's going to say that, I think it's almost towards the end, maybe chapter 18 he discusses it, that without giving up the fruit of action, you cannot give doership anyway. That's almost the first step. That's a higher state, giving doership. It's a lot harder. And हम लोग बोलेंगे, I'm very egoless person. But ego is a very subtle thing,
Right.
It's a very subtle thing. हम इसको give up करना इतना बहुत मुश्किल है. इसीलिए जो कर्म सन्यासी true होते हैं ना, they have a lot of preparation already from previous lives and this and that. That's why they can so easily go in that karma sanyas. But what Krishna Bhagavan is saying, if you start with giving up fruit of action, it will lead you to that non-doership eventually.
Okay. So, no, because when you said that, presented it, and I thought it was, okay, I don't have many duties and I can focus on knowledge and going towards it. But to me, there was a slight difference to what I understood, and that's why my question.
What I'm trying to explain is that whatever I understood, that it is actually the same thing, but if you have not even given up the fruit of action, you can never develop, give up doership. So this is like, and then this is a lot easier thing to do. And I think Swamiji explains, when we will read it next week, because now we don't have time, that giving up doership is a lot harder because you will understand the mechanics of the whole universe together. that oneness together, and hey, I am nothing in this. And Sadhguru always says this, that hey, look at, if tomorrow the whole solar system disappears, in the universe nobody even going to notice, and you are sitting on the earth, which is like a little dot somewhere, and on that you are sitting. But to think like that is very hard. Intellectually आप हम लोग बोल देंगे हाँ 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 ठीक है, but ego जाता नहीं है इतना जल्दी से. That's all it
True.
is. Yeah.
Okay.
So when he describes, Swamiji describes these two paths, he says that, in Karma Yoga, the focus is more on giving up fruits of action. In Karma Sannyas, the focus is more on giving doership. But
whereas in chapter 3, both things were presented. As a Karma Yoga. Both were presented, the doership.
True. Because it's just telling you to start from here, it will slide you into it. That's all it's saying.
Okay.
Yeah. This is like a safe harbor for us.
Okay.
अगर हम लोग, what he's saying, अगर हम लोग सीधा doership drop करने जाएंगे ना, हम लोग से नहीं होगा.
True.
So start with giving a fruit of action.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Any other question, comment? Anybody wants to add anything? Okay. So I'll close Bhagavad Gita here. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. Okay, so we were in verse 21. We were talking about different indicative definitions of Brahman. And then also it says, sitting, he travels far. This is verse 21, English translation. Sitting, he travels far. Lying, he goes everywhere. Who else, therefore, save myself, is able to comprehend the God who rejoices and rejoices not? We had gone in detail. He's talking about his subjective journey. That was the main idea. And then Brahman is the one that illumines everything. Happiness, sadness, everything. And then certain sitting travels far. We discussed all that. So now, basically in this next verse, he's talking about, it's very similar to what we are learning in Bhagavad Gita, that hey, what am I going to gain from it? And then a little more technical stuff about it, that how the whole thing is. Here is a verse 22. Ashariram sharireshu anavastheshvavasthitam mahantam vibhumatmanam matva dhiro na shochati. Ashariram, bodiless. Sharireshu, in the bodies. Anavastheshu, perishable, impermanent. जिसकी कोई एक फिक्स्ड अवस्था नहीं होती. Anavastheshu. Avasthitam, seated. So it's a play of words. See, anavastheshu, avasthitam, meaning is sitting in a perishable thing, and it is itself is bodiless. We'll see. It's a play of words. It's very interesting. Mahantam is the great, the supreme. पहले उन्होंने बोला था greater than the greatest, subtler than the subtlest, smaller than the smallest. यहाँ बोला Mahantam, and we'll see why he said that. Because every time there is one word, it brings another angle and it seals any doubt that you would have. That's what the purpose is of bringing different words, but for the same type of meaning. Vibhum is all pervading. Atmanam is Atma. Matva, having realized, धीरा, this word has come before. The wise man, धीरा उसको बोलते हैं कि जो जिसमें विवेक हो, the one who has discriminative power, and no is not, shochati is grief, so he doesn't grieve. So what is he saying over here? Firstly, let's see the word dheer is the person who has a vivek, as I said. Vivek about what? He's not talking about worldly things. Worldly things में हम लोग सब बहुत smart हैं. मगर he's talking about the one who can differentiate between atma and anatma. Knows what is permanent and what is temporary. That there's atma is permanent and anatma is temporary, and rest everything what you see is nature is anatma. And also dheer में एक और component भी है. Just knowing is not enough, but he can turn his mind to that self and withdraw it from the anatma and place it in the atma. So that एकदम high level of dheer जो होगा ना वो वैसा होता है. Because lot of us, we know intellectually, but when the time comes we cannot do it. So here one step further he's talking about what dheer is. Once you reach that state that okay, separate the atma anatma and get established in that atma, then you will not grieve. Na shochati, means you the grief will not happen to you. And then the couple of words, let me put this on mute. So couple of words, asharira. Asharira na atma को कहा गया है, because we learned that atma उसकी quality बोलना चाहिए, indicative definition. Those are better words to use. Indicative words. We know that atma is not born. There's no birth, growth, decay, and it is formless. That's why it's called asharireshu. कृष्णा जी आपको म्यूट रखना होगा अपना.
Sorry.
कोई बात नहीं. I know it's. Yeah, now you're mute. Yeah, good. Thank you. So, yeah, I was talking about ashariram. That's why the word ashariram, and there is a lot behind it, but we have already studied all those things, that it is ashariram, formless. But in spite of being formless, it is present in all the bodies. See that the play of words and the whole concept, that it itself is asharireshu, it doesn't have a body and all, but it is present in the bodies because we know that without that atma, body cannot be. Right? So, उसमें होते हुए भी वो अशरीरी है, number one. And it does not get affected by all these things that happen to the body. जो birth, growth, decay, and all those things that happen, that atma को कुछ नहीं होता है उसमें. Right? And the word anavastheshu over here has a lot of significance, because it's describing the sharir जिसकी कोई particular अवस्था नहीं होती, meaning what? Continuously changing. In fact, I'm told, I'm not an expert in Sanskrit by any means, but I'm told that the word sharir in Sanskrit, उसका actual meaning है जो decay होता रहे, उसको बोलते हैं. If somebody analyzes where the word sharir came from, वो decay होता रहता है, इसलिए उसका word sharir है. And the other word they have used is mahantam. Even though they use, before anorniyan and, mahato mahiyan and all that, smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. And why did they use the word mahantam here? Because in the world, smaller than the smallest and the bigger than the biggest is a very, very relative term. कोई बोलेगा ओ ये तो बहुत बड़ी चीज है, मेरे को अभी बहुत बड़ी लग रही है, फिर उससे भी कोई बड़ी चीज आ जाएगी तो ये छोटा हो गया. राइट? दैट्स व्हाई उसको महानतम बोल दिया उसको सीधा. ग्रेटेस्ट, नथिंग ग्रेटर देन दैट. बिकॉज हम लोग कितना भी ग्रेटर बोले, इन द वर्ल्ड इज ऑल रिलेटिव ओनली. somebody can break that क्या बोलते हैं greater thing in tomorrow, because that's why they have that Guinness Book of World Record. And every other day somebody is breaking the records of previous time because it's relative. But here उसको महानतम बोल दिया and उसको विभू बोला. There's another word vibhu because vibhu means all pervading. So two things they have used, mahantam and vibhu, in addition to the other things that we learned, just to seal any doubts. Because here it's not talking about relative pervasiveness. The way we have to look at it, nothing can pervade the Atma. Atma pervades everything. Okay? So it's just like, from our example, space. Space pervades everything. I cannot pervade space. Just an example, because for us, this is the most pervading thing. So now let's look at the other part of it, what he's saying. That the person जो ये समझ जाता है वो शोक से परे हो जाता है. So what Tejo Mehananji was explaining, कि just by knowing कि the Atma is the largest and Atma is the Vibhu and Atma is Mahan and all that, intellectual knowledge से मेरा शोक नहीं जाने वाला. शोक कब जाएगा? जब मैं ये अच्छे से समझ जाऊंगी कि मेरे अंदर जो आत्मा है ना, पहली बात तो कि वो जो मेरे अंदर भी है और वास्तव में मैं वो हूं. जब तक हम उसको पर्सनलाइज जर्नी नहीं बनाएंगे और वहां रियलाइज नहीं करेंगे इन योर ओन हार्ट, तब तक हमारा शोक नहीं जाएगा. So just by intellectually knowing it's not gonna happen, but once you realize that this Atma, that I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I am this Atma, then all the shok goes away. And then he was explaining that sorrow arises from moha, he said. मोह का मतलब क्या होता है? एक मीनिंग होता है हिंदी का मोह, भाई मुझे उससे मोह हो गया, जो सा लव हो गया कुछ समथिंग, दैट्स नॉट द मीनिंग. यहाँ मोह का मतलब इग्नोरेंस है. आई डोंट नो माई ट्रू नेचर. बोलते हैं ना कि अर्जुन को मोह हो गया था. लॉट ऑफ पीपल से दैट बिकॉज इन द फर्स्ट चैप्टर, व्हाई डिड ही फील सो डिजेक्टेड एंड डिप्रेस्ड? मोह हो गया बिकॉज ही फॉरगॉट दैट he was looking at everybody just as body and there is a relationship as a body, and he forgot that he was the Atma. It's like a identity crisis, they call it in the spiritual world, that you have identity crisis. So then Tejo Mehananji gave an example. He said that you take your small child in your family to some kind of a मेला में लेके जाते थे और उसमें वो mirrors होते थे. एक रूम होता था जहाँ पर, I don't know, I remember doing that as a child, going to that मेला, and then एक शीशे में देखेंगे तो वो ऐसे हम लोग गोल गप्पे हो जाएंगे और एक में ऐसे पतले, and हम लोग जोर जोर से हंसते थे. And then some kids would get scared. What happened to me? So he's saying, just because you're seeing the reflection doesn't mean that's what has happened to you. So he's saying the same thing for us, that we think that, oh my God, I'm dying, this is happening, that is happening. It is happening to the body. Atma ko kuch nahi ho raha, It's hard, but that's the truth from the spiritual perspective. So he's saying that you get attached to all this, and then you are weeping and crying because you have ignorance. That's how he was explaining that, if you think I'm this little body, 100% you're going to be miserable, and you're going to be all upset. He's saying it will be a miracle if while thinking that I'm this little body, I can be happy. And then he also said, I think I brought that up even previous class, he said that some of the brahmacharis that he was, or the people who had gone for that course, Vedanta course, they were saying, oh, we were happy before, this is more trouble and all that. So he's saying, if you're studying Vedanta and understanding correctly, you have no business feeling sorry for yourself or sad or something. And he said, those people who don't understand Vedanta correctly, then, the way they behave, other people lose faith in Vedanta. कि वो वेदांत पढ़ने गया था और दुखी होके वापस. He's saying, if you truly understand Vedanta, you have no business getting. That was an interesting thing. And he's saying that this concept is very difficult, obviously. And in the beginning, when you are just studying, it's difficult. But just keep at it and all that. And then you will get there. We're just encouraging everybody. So this is what in this verse it is. Anybody has any question, comment? It's a short thing, so we can read it. Who wants to read? Sushil ji, you want to read?
The wise man who knows the Atman as bodiless, seated firmly in perishable bodies, great and all-pervading, does never grieve. Our wrong understanding that we are the body, mind, intellect, equipment, and that there's no other greater truth in us at all, is the gurgling source of all the pains and agonies, diseases and death, despairs and dejections, hopes and desires that befall us. When, in the maturity of discrimination, a man with an evolved intellect and mind, like that of Nachiketa, comes to inquire and know, seek and discover for himself the Atman within. Such a saintly one, at the peak of evolution, dwelling in the realm of perfection, comes to identify himself permanently as that truth principle, and thereafter naturally he shall know no pain or limitation. This idea is explained here in this mantra. All that man has to do to become God is to renounce totally his egocentric vanity and these satanic murmurings of his own impure mind of uncontrolled devilry. Detached from the false, attach yourself to the truth. Therein lies the true redemption and all successes and achievements.
So whatever we discuss, he just talked about it, that the whole spiritual journey is, detach and attach. In fact, there is a very famous story about Chinmyanan ji, and maybe Sushil ji and Meena ji have heard it, that one time Chinmyanan ji was getting into some bus and somebody shouted, Swamiji, can you tell Vedanta in 2 words or something like that? And he said, detach, attach, and he boarded the bus. Detach from all these false ideas and attach to that higher self. That's all is the whole journey. It's difficult. That's why we are studying so much, encouraging each other, talking about different paths and all that. But in the end, that's what it is. Very simple thing. So anyway.
I think that's where you said detach from false and attach yourself to the truth.
Right.
That's where I think we need some explanation about what is false and what is truth. What are they talking about here?
They are talking about the same thing, that we think that we are the body, mind, and intellect, and we think the world is very real, and it appears very real, and we have to do our transaction and all that. But deep inside, we should develop this idea more and more and more that this is temporary, and if something is happening to my body, mind, and intellect, that's not me. That's the whole practice over here, and how you do it, how you achieve that. Each one has a personal journey. You can, and the other thing is that by being in that truth more and more, by doing satsang, thinking about that truth more and more, you will stay in that more and more. तभी वो इंडिया में इतनी सारी प्रैक्टिसेस इसी से कनेक्टेड है कि बस सुबह उठते पूजा करो, दिन में 3 बार संध्या करो, दे कॉल इट राइट. मुस्लिम लोग 5 बार नमाज पढ़ते हैं, क्यों? बिल्कुल इसीलिए. Stay in that truth more, and then detachment, meaning we still have to transact our business, we have to still do everything, but do it with those 3 things that we learn in Bhagavad Gita. Na dveshti, no craving, no dvesh, and rise above pairs and opposite. That's why I said it's complementary. Both the things are very complementary, what we are studying in Bhagavad Gita, and here you can bring everything together. But you can elaborate more, Sushil ji, if you like.
This is what I meant. I said that's the important part, and that's what you explained. That's great. Thank you.
Anyone else wants to add anything? Any question, comment? Very silent, everybody. सब लोग सन्यासी मोड में चले गए लगता है. I finished early, but you know it's all right because these are very. I don't want to do too much because it's a lot of thinking and like letting it sink inside us is more important. So if nobody has any comment, question, or want to add anything, then I can close the class. We can even finish early today. That's fine. For discussion, we can if anybody has anything in there, and then we can. As far as these verses that we did, anybody has anything, then you can speak now. We have time.
Okay. When we talk about Atman as bodiless, I mean, I look at it both ways. We point out as some insight. At the same time, it is like the awareness which is aware of everything, right? We talk about that way also, the awareness. And that way you can say you're not the body. I mean, because you're being aware of everything, but you're not the body.
Yeah, you're talking about the witness in us, right? Yes.
Mode, right. So
that's a good practice.
Both,
yeah.
It is being aware that is bodiless, and why we point out inside, because that's where we have to realize first in order to So there are two. Are there two ways? Then am I looking at the right way? Or?
Yeah, you are looking at the totally fine, because there are different ways to approach it, and you are looking at the witness bhav, sakshi bhav, jisko bolte hain. And like lot of saints and sages like Nisarg Datt Maharaj and Ramana Maharaj, she took that approach. Who am I? Because I told you that very famous story that one of these devotees and went and said, oh, Swamiji, I'm depressed today. And he said, go to your room and find out who's depressed. Because then he finds out my mind is depressed. I'm not my mind. And then the other idea is, if you know you are depressed, that means there's something behind it that's observing that you are depressed.
Yes.
Yeah, we observe our mind. That's why we say, oh, I got a good idea. Oh, nothing is coming to my mind. I am separating my mind already. But then otherwise I think, if my mind is dukhi, then main dukhi ho gayi. Why don't we think like that? Okay, my mind is upset, and mind goes up and down anyway. So that method is a very good method. If somebody can get to that method, very powerful technique for sure.
In this way, sometimes when you can think of being the witness, that anger or that thing with the negative thing itself calms down, slows down.
Yes. In fact, there was one Niru Ma karke ek saint. Now she has taken Mahasamadhi, but उनका ना शो आता था और वो हमेशा कहती थी कि ना अपनी लाइफ को ना अपने नेबर की लाइफ की तरह देखो, as though you are looking at a film.
Yes.
कि कुछ हंगामा हो रहा है घर में, कुछ झगड़े हो रहे हैं, कुछ भी हो रहा है, So it's like, don't get involved. Just think of it. It is happening in your neighbor's house, You don't go and start fighting in your neighbor's house. I thought that was a great technique,
True, yeah. I mean, this way I'm reminding, but if you start looking at it, then that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That,
It absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll close the class. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Joe, we need some wisdom here now. You're missing your wisdom.
What do you want me to say?
Whatever. You have so many things to say.
Your words of advice.
There is no advice. when you think, then you are not there. See, when you are thinking something, you are not in meditation mode. I don't know if that is an advice.
Oh, very, very interesting. Yes. You
Like when you are saying, I'm going to meditate, you're not in meditation mode.
Because the I has come over there.
Yeah, I mean, you are doing something.
Yes, true.
See, when you are not doing anything, then you are in meditation mode. It is happening.
Yeah. And I think that's why Krishna Bhagwan focuses so much on karma yoga, because he said that it will slide you. It'll, like we were discussing, जोर नहीं लगाना पड़ेगा, अपने आप होने लगता है. That's what it is. Yeah.
हम लोग खुद worry करते हैं unnecessarily.
Yeah. कि ये करना है, वो करना है. Yeah, true.
Because destiny is fixed.
See,
ये सब connected है.
सरेंडर भाव आ जाए तो फिर डेस्टिनी का तो मीनिंग ही नहीं रह जाता, राइट? उन्होंने क्या कहा कि जो भी प्रसाद बुद्धि आ जाए तो फिर डेस्टिनी का सवाल कहाँ आया?
वो स्वामी बोलता था ना इस्कॉन टेम्पल में कि आई हैव द बिगेस्ट बेस्ट इंश्योरेंस एजेंट इन द वर्ल्ड व्हिच इज गॉड, सो ही टेक्स केयर ऑफ मी. सो
I think there is a very interesting saying that I don't know what my future holds, but I know who is holding my future.
Right, very nice.
I love that. Once you know who's holding your future, then it's like a small baby. In fact, we were discussing, my older son, who was saying, babies are so dependent on you. They completely have to trust you. Because, like now that we are experiencing the baby, from a fresh angle, especially I forgot also 36 years ago. So, and of course, for them, the younger people, it's the first experience. So it's like, they trust you completely, So you have to, and if they have chosen you as parents, then you better come through properly, So that's how it is for the bhakt, that he trusts Bhagwan completely, like a small baby. I'm in your lap, whatever happens, I know it's good.
Is the monkey and the cat.
Yeah.
Thing. The monkey holds on, and it says, I have to. The cat just gives up, and the mother does it.
Mother picks it up and takes it to become a cat. That's exactly what they're saying.
Yes, two different ways of doing it. Yes.
And that whole verse about yoga and shame, that Bhagwan takes care of yoga and shame, that 9th chapter is like that. That you, if whoever surrenders to him, he will take care of you.
Yeah. What do you mean by yoga and shame? How are the two connected?
So this term is when they say yoga and shame in Bhagavad Gita, when they use the word together, उसका meaning थोड़ा different हो जाता है. वैसे योग का मतलब होता है जोड़ना, right? So जो चीज मेरे पास नहीं है वो मैं लेना चाहती हूँ, तो मैं उससे जुड़ रही हूँ. I want to gain something which I don't have. That's one thing that we strive for in this world. The second thing that we strive for is whatever I have, I want to protect it. Whatever I need, मेरा घर, मेरा ये, मेरा वो, जो भी है, worldly example दे रही हूँ. So जो चीज नहीं है मेरे पास, समझो, watch नहीं है, Apple watch नहीं है, I want that. So that is a yoga. Shame is, I have my computer, but I want to preserve it. Okay? So what Bhagwan is saying in chapter 9, जो मुझे सदा याद करता है या जो सरेंडर करता है मेरे को, मैं उसके योग और शेम को आई टेक केयर ऑफ इट. वहाम यहाँ मैं उसका वहन करता हूँ, मीन्स आई टेक द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. तो जो तुमको चाहिए वो मैं तुम्हें दूंगा, और जो तुम्हारे पास है ऑलरेडी उसकी मैं रक्षा करूंगा. That's called yoga and shame in Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you.
So ये जो हम लोग बोलते हैं ना भक्ति, surrender, जो प्रसाद बुद्धि and all that is connected with that yoga and shame. I don't have to worry. Worry is like, they are not telling you don't try and get something. That's not, we should not misunderstand. But वो craving वगैरह खत्म हो जाएगी. एक reasonable effort तुम करो, और वो सब जायज है वो transactional world में. If I want something, I got to make effort. earn the money or go get it and all that and preserve it. I put my alarm system, whatever I need to do that. But वो जो एंजाइटी में जो मुझे रातों की नींद उड़ रही है वो नहीं होगा फिर.
So एक level है when you are depending everything on God and you are relaxed. Then the next level is there is no God. You are the one responsible because you are part of that. So that's where it is, So you can be Advaita, you can be, the duality. But it's all one.
True. That's why they say there are two approach. One is, मेरा कोई नहीं है, और या मैं सबका हूँ.
Right.
You can, whichever fits you with you. You can take that. Krishna ji, आप कुछ बोलिए. I know you have a lot of wisdom to share. Oh, आपको unmute करना होगा.
Yeah.
हाँ, अभी unmute हुए.
Yeah.
बोलिए.
It's really, you have to realize, that we are not body. जैसे बोलते हैं, we say sunrise हुआ, sunset हुआ, पर होता है क्या वो? नहीं. It's the earth which is moving, ना? तो पर क्योंकि हम वो देखते हैं तो बोल देते हैं.
Right.
ऐसे ये बॉडी दिखती है इसलिए हम उसमें अटक जाती है by we are body. If you go deeper, तो जब ये बॉडी को फ्यूनरल में डालते हैं तो एक मुट्ठी हो जाती है. तो what body we are? This body doesn't have value without that consciousness, उस शक्ति के सिवाय. तो we have to go on realizing that उठा उड़ा है, चला उड़ा है, भले duality समझे, body is separate and the सत्ता separate. तो उठते बैठते रियलाइज करा रहा है, वो हो रहा है, खुद नहीं हो सकता है, बट ही इज मेकिंग इट रियलाइज.
Yeah, very nice.
अटैच डिटैच. तो ऐसे होता जा रहा है ना, किसको अटैच करे किसको डिटैच करे. बोलते हैं ना, कुछ छोड़ना भी नहीं है, कुछ जोड़ना भी नहीं है. मैं जो हूँ सो हूँ.
Yeah, true. एंड में तो वही है.
किसको छोड़े. जितना जितना हम्बलपना आता जाता है तो वो उससे जुड़ता जाता है.
True. Shireen. Oh, sorry. हाँ, बोलिए.
रुकावट है ना. आई रुकावट.
Yeah, like ego.
लैंग्वेज में सिंधी में होता है ज, जुदा और खुदा. तो एक डॉट होती है, ज की नीचे होती है तो जुदा हो जाता है, और उसको ऊपर लगाओ तो खुदा हो जाता है.
या मैंने सुनी है वो बात. उर्दू में ऐसा है ना.
Yeah, even in Sindhi.
So Sindhi की writing is same as like Urdu.
Yeah, little bit. The language
Similar.
is little different, but
Acha.
almost it's like Farsi they call it.
Ah,
Yeah.
It's like the Persian script.
I
Yeah.
see. But okay,
Yeah.
very interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many things, words in different languages, like you're talking about khuda and juda. Even in English language, हम लोग को लगता है कि वो वेस्टर्न लोगों को ये philosophy मालूम नहीं है and all that. But olden days, all those Greek philosophers and all that, they were also very highly connected to this, Brahman. And in their words also, somebody was analyzing the word remember. It's like remember. Means member ban jao wo Brahman ke.
Yeah.
Remembering God is remember. So there are so many words like that you can spiritually analyze it and gain something from it. So I was asking Shireen if she has any wisdom to share. She always does too.
wisdom has taken my leave today.
Huh? Your wisdom? No. Wisdom is part of you, Shireen.
Whatever you're saying, I agree 100%. And I try to follow.
Yeah, that's all. And I mean, I'm saying it whatever Krishna Bhagwan is saying. And Krishna Bhagwan ने भी अपने हाथ धो लिए, बोला मैं उपनिषद की भी बोल रहा हूँ तुझे, वाइज लोगों की बातें बोल रहा हूँ. It's always nice to shift the burden to, some wise people. So we just have to pray that I understand it correctly the way God wants me to understand. I think that's a very important thing because,
Because it's not, he's explaining the same thing so many ways.
Yes.
I think it's just the same thing, but in a different way. I don't know.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. That's how I look at it because everybody's mind is different. So somebody might take this approach and suddenly some बोलते हैं ना कि tube light on हो जाएगी फिर. Because this really, because sometimes it happens, right? Some concept I'm not getting, and then some example or somebody says something and all of a sudden you say, now I understand. And I think the same thing happened with Arjun, that
I have understood very well. That's why I try to practice it.
Yeah. And satsang is nothing but encouraging us to practice it. That's what it is. Understand it firstly correctly and encouraging to practice. So this weekly dose is very good.
Oh. Yeah. And you explain it so well that I don't have any other questions. I don't know what to ask because I think I've understood. According to me, I've understood, but I don't know.
No, that's good. No, definitely. If you feel you have understood, you have.
For me, only problem is remembering the language, like different words because Sanskrit.
It's not necessary. Look at who's here.
Somebody asked me to repeat, though, forget it.
Hello, who's this young man in our class?
Hi.
Namaste. What's your name, beta? What's your name?
What's your name? Aaron. Oh.
Dadi will have to tell. What? What's his name?
His name is Aaron.
Aaron.
Yes.
Okay, very nice. He got very curious. ये कौन है? सब जरा मैं देखूं तो जाके.
Yeah, I came upstairs, closed the room and all. So he was downstairs, so he just came, opened the door, and he was checking on me. What are you doing? What are you doing, Dadi? So
yeah, now he knows what Dadi does.
Let me show him what I'm doing.
Well, how old is he?
He is 7. He's 7.
Yeah.
So
it's
so
amazing.
Cute.
Yeah, it's like
so cute, and the picture you sent. Oh my God!
Oh, thank you.
You should share those pictures with this class.
In this class, मैं अपना मोह कम करने की कोशिश करती हूँ.
I know what Meeraji is saying because I have a grandson too, and somebody was telling me the other day when I told them that I became a grandma, saying, aren't you going to do the next thing that grandmas do? I said, what's that? Take out your phone and show the picture. So, I think it's that's also a gift from God only, for us to experience that. Really, it's like I had heard from all you grandmas about it and even other friends, but unless you yourself experience, you don't know what it means.
See, you are only appreciating God. They are also gods.
Yeah, and that's how I look at it. He looks like a little god only to me because they're so innocent and their eyes are like that. So much purity in them. True.
When you see a child, you always smile.
Yes.
And they are so pure,
Yeah, and they will smile at you no matter who you are. If you have that love and care for them, they will smile at you.
No, but if they, I think kids can sense something. If they are evil, they cry. They don't want to go.
Yes, we have noticed that too. That the people that he knows truly that have love and not, वो रो भी होगा ना एक बार तो smile दे ही देता है. So what you're saying is true. That they know.
पिछले जन्म का भी कोई कनेक्शन है कुछ लोगों से उसकी नहीं बनी होगी पिछले जन्म में तो उनको देख के रोता भी है और नहीं जाता भी है बच्चा. I mean, generally. कई दफा इवन पेरेंट्स आर सरप्राइज कि किसी एक पर्टिकुलर पर्सन के पास रोने लगता है या नहीं जाता है, जबकि उस पर्सन ने कुछ अच्छा बुरा नहीं किया है ना, जिसके पास स्माइल देता है उसने कुछ अच्छा बुरा किया है, बट वही है कि उसको तो कुछ यादें हैं पिछले जन्म की. आई थिंक
हो सकता है.
I
Yeah.
think they remember till the age of 3. They remember their past life. Some of the kids. So then it gets better after a certain age.
Then they start
They
connecting
forget.
more to this world and start forgetting the other one. Yeah. Very good. Anybody else has any jewels to share? If not, we can close the class. And we will see you guys next time. Everybody stay healthy.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
thank
Manju.
you so much. Yeah.
Hari Om.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.